What's up, guys? We get a lot of questions in the yo-yoing community about bearings and string and cleaning yo-yos and oil and lube and stuff. And this is usually from people who are just starting out. And so I just thought I would make the simplest, most straightforward way to handle these questions that I've found that works for me, that actually is exactly what I still do, more or less. And also has been very helpful for people who have been starting yo-yoing that I've, given advice to. They said they liked it. So maybe this will help you. I don't know. So first thing, if you're starting out yo-yoing, you're probably going to get a yo-yo. You get an unresponsive yo-yo. Most unresponsive yo-yos that you can buy nowadays are pretty decent. The overall quality has gone up, and it's pretty awesome. This is my paradigm shift, so I happen to be carrying it. When you get your yo-yo, go ahead and order string. I would say Yo-Yo Expert, Kitty string, normal, Kitty fat. Those have been around for a really long time, and they're very middle of the road, easygoing kind of string. I get a 100-pack. This is a 10-pack. I think it was a free one they gave out at Worlds, maybe. I don't remember. It doesn't matter. But Kitty, Yo-Yo Expert, whatever. Just get a 100-pack so that way Buddha does pretty decent too. But get a 100-pack of normal basic string, because what you want is consistency. So you're getting a 100-pack of string. You're going to go to AliExpress and get a 10-pack of yo-yo bearings. And they're not amazing bearings. This one's ceramic. I also have a ceramic one in here. It just kind of happened that way because they got mixed up. But these are the bearings I got from AliExpress. Cheap set of 10 or whatever bearings, 100-pack of string. So this way, when you have an issue, you can change your string and not worry about it because you got a bunch. You can clean your bearing, and if that doesn't fix it, you can toss the bearing and put in a new one because you got extras. And you don't want to have downtime where you can't play because you're missing strings and bearings. And you don't want to be so tied up in your expensive bearing that you're messing with it instead of throwing, because in the beginning you really just want to throw your yo-yo. That's what you need. You need a certain base skill set you're trying to build up, and you don't want things to interfere with you figuring out how to do that. And if you're changing string all the time and you're changing bearings all the time, you're going to wonder, does it play a little different because I'm doing something different or because of the equipment? So if we rule out the equipment issues or equipment variability, then that'll help you be more consistent. Now, I know immediately a bunch of people are going to say the stuff that they like, and that's awesome, and that's totally cool. One of the best things about yo-yoing is different strings, different bearings, different yo-yos play differently, and people have different preferences, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. You definitely will eventually find some things that you like and gravitate towards different throws, maybe depending on your mood or whatever, and things that you do or don't like, and that's awesome. That's one of the cool things about yo-yoing. However, when you're starting out, it's easier if those things are consistent, and the way to make them consistent is to just use the same ones. Other benefits include people have very often used Kitty string. So if you're like, hey, I'm thinking about this string, how does it play? They'll be like, well, it's sort of like Yo-Yo Expert normal or Kitty fat, but it also does this. And so that'll help give you a point of comparison. The other thing you should just go ahead and do is get a bearing remover. I like this one because it's on my keychain all the time. I think it's actually made for fishing poles. I think I got it from Yo-Yo Expert a long time ago. I assume they still sell it. I probably should have checked. But I know Yo-Yo Factory and Yo-Yo Expert and some other sites definitely sell the little multi-tool deals that go on your keychain that have a bearing remover. You need a bearing remover. They're not expensive, and it's the best way to get the bearing off without damaging it. If you start grabbing it with pliers, it can damage the bearing. Some bearings you don't even need the bearing remover, but some you do. So if you want to clean your bearing, that's the next thing. Eventually it'll get dirty. If you do want to clean it, what you can do is unscrew your yo-yo. Be careful with the threads because it's aluminum. You shouldn't really have issues, but don't over tighten it when you put it back together. That's an issue sometimes. Toss the string, bearing remover goes in. You wiggle the bearing around a little bit. Oops. Wiggle the bearing, and bearing pops out. Easy peasy, right? So you got the bearing out. Now, there's a lot of different ways to clean yo-yo bearings, and that's great. I'm going to keep it simple. I use Brake Clean. Yeah, Brake Clean is fantastic at this. I'm pretty sure it was crap, I forgot his name. Not anyway. Um, Not Chase, the other one. Won everything with a North Star, crazy Canadian. Anyway, he was like, my dad used to work on transmissions, and he always used Brake Clean to clean stuff. I started using it on my bearings, and it was great. I was like, man, I should have thought of that. I work in an auto shop, and we have Brake Clean everywhere. So we use Brake Clean in automotive because it's very good at removing any residue, dust, debris, whatever is there, gets rid of it. It's also volatile, which means it evaporates quickly, and there's no residue left behind. So you want to be in a ventilated place. You want to be careful with plastics, but it evaporates so quickly that even if I was putting this bearing in a plastic yo-yo, as long as I, give it 20, 30 seconds, it should be fine. So here's what happens. You're going to spray it, and it's going to fling Brake Clean a little bit. Hopefully not on my phone, but it wouldn't be the first time. So you spin it up like that, spin it. You should probably wear gloves. And and it'll spin around, blow all the crap out. You spin it like this a few times, get it going. If you've got compressed air like in a shop or a can of air, and you spin it with that, blast it in there, it'll spin real quick, and it's super cool, and it makes it super dry super fast. But like, that's it, we're done. Then you're gonna pop it off of your bearing tool and put it back in your yo-yo and play with your yo-yo. I do not lube bearings. I have tried. Every time I lube a bearing, it becomes more responsive because that's just how oils work. A lot of people, I've even tried dry lubes, and it was just more trouble than it was worth for me. Some people really like that stuff, and that's great. Dry lubes and other oils or lubricants, I've tried a lot of different ones, and just every one and every method, it makes it responsive, and I don't like it, and I'd rather throw my yo-yo. Most of my yo-yos don't have ceramic bearings in it, so I'm not too worried. Like, if the bearing's not doing great, I'll put in a new one because I got a bunch cheap. So I don't lube them. So that's what I do. That's actually exactly what I do now when a bearing is responsive. I'll blast out with Brake Clean, throw in a new string, and we're ready to go. Pads are a little different because some of them are different for yo-yos, but that's basically all the consumables that you would need for yo-yoing. Just strings and bearings, something to clean them with. And this is a pretty decent package all in one thing. Just make sure it's ventilated, and there you go. So hopefully that helps. Nice.